Hey everybody, Kale here. Welcome back to the channel. So today we are going to do a reading for somebody who already knows the answer. They already know the truth of the situation. They're having a difficult time accepting that. Perhaps there's fear, insecurity, attachment that's keeping them a little bit doubting, a little bit uncertain, or keeping them just a little bit stagnant or stuck in that situation. And so this reading is really about helping you to move forward. Okay, so again, this is for the person who already knows the truth. And so if that sounds like you, please stick around. If not, you're welcome to stick around and see if there's still something here for you. Otherwise, we'll catch you in the next one. Okay, so the first card that was pulled for this reading was a Six of Arrows. All right, with the Six of Arrows, also known as the Six of Swords. All right, with the Six of Arrows, we have the Six of Arrows illustrates a journey into the unknown. This, by the way, is from Tarot of the Woodland Wardens, all right, by Jessica Roux. The Six of Arrows illustrates a journey into the unknown. The time has come to pack up our belongings, gather our people, and voyage across the open waters. We are not alone and have support from friends or family, but the way is uncertain. Although we don't know what we will find when we reach our destination or what trouble will greet us along the way, we must leave now while our vessel is still afloat. I'm going to pause here just because to me there's clear confirmation here that it's time to pack up your belongings and leave, all right? And that perhaps there is that fear, right, of not knowing what's going to happen when you get to the other place, what's going to happen along the way, along the journey, but that it's time to go now while you're in the particular situation that you're in. So whether this is speaking to a relationship, a job, a physical location, moving wise, if this is about, getting yourself into a better position, whether that could be something around addiction, mental health, whatever's coming up for you, I trust because part of you has already accepted this. You already know the truth. You already know the answer. And so, like many readings, most often readings really serve as a confirmation and then also a clarification. Okay, so to get back to the reading, a family of bison boards a boat that has been pierced by 6 arrows. The North American buffalo was an extremely important resource for various Native American peoples. Ravaged by white colonists' wanton overhunting, this majestic animal all but disappeared by the late 1800s. Although the reality is far more grim, we might imagine them departing a hostile environment and reestablishing their home elsewhere. And then the upright message for this card is, you are taking action and leaving a situation that no longer serves you. While the future is uncertain, you have a support system in place and are ready to face new challenges. Okay, and then the reversal for this says, change can be a scary thing, and you're doing your best to avoid it, which has caused stagnation. There's something better out there, and only you can start paddling forward one stroke at a time. And Jessica asks the questions, how do I know when it's time to leave? How can I protect myself and loved ones from harm? Okay, and so this definitely appears to be a confirmation around leaving a situation that's no longer serving you, whether it's simply something you've outgrown, it may not necessarily be a bad thing that you're leaving, but it also could be something that's not helpful or that's not healthy for you. All right, and some of you may have a really strong and solid support system in place to help navigate this, and perhaps others may not have something quite as strong, and maybe that's part of the fear. Nonetheless, it appears that this is a confirmation to go ahead and leave that situation. And in Hermetic Kabbalah, the Hermetic Kabbalah version of tarot, we have the Six of Swords as transition, mental movement, and leaving turbulence for a more workable reality. It often carries sorrow because improvement still requires departure. Okay, there's grief regardless. The shadow version of this card is clinging to old pain, delayed transition, carrying the storm into the next chapter. Okay, what old pain are you clinging to? All right, the soul lesson for this card is, peace often requires departure before comfort has returned. And so the aspects of you that feel a bit nervous or not quite peaceful, recognizing, the reality is that that peace may not fully return until you've already taken that action and have moved forward. Okay, because I think there can be a reality that those kind of old patterns or attachments are really, they're wanting to dig in, but you already know that it's time to go. You already know it's time to make the change that you need to make. Okay, and in love, this can mean moving on, emotional transition, leaving conflict, healing after difficulty, or possible physical distance. And the spiritual initiation of this card is accepting that movement itself can be mercy. And to me, what really sticks out with that is that sometimes there's that change and there's movement that occurs that is not what we want. And in fact, it can be the opposite of what we want, and yet there's still mercy in that movement, in getting us out of where we've been, again, bringing us into a more workable reality, a more stable situation, something that overall is healthier for us in perhaps the short and the long run, despite the grief and pain that comes up in that transition. Okay, and so again, accepting that movement itself can be mercy. All right, so once again, whether this is job, career, relationship, actually moving to another place, addiction, mental health stuff, anything like that, moving into a more stable and healthy experience. All right, the next card we pull is the Five of Pentacles. All right, we've got the Five of Pentacles. Two deer, the younger of which is injured, struggle as they journey through the woods, searching for help and a better future. Five pentacles shine from the branches of the trees above them, reflecting the warmth and light of the rising sun. This card tends to appear when we are experiencing scarcity, but it also reminds us to hope. Resources are available, and we need only reach for them. The deer itself is a symbol of regeneration. Though it periodically sheds and loses its antlers, new ones grow in their place. The upright for this message is, misfortunes have set you back, but there is help on the horizon. Don't let a period of famine cause you to lose hope. Ask for help and seek out new resources. For the reverse, the hardships you have faced will soon be resolved. Recovery and stability are on the way. And the questions are, am I resourceful? When I was going through a hard time, who was there for me? So this, to me, what really jumps out is that notion of regeneration, the periodically shedding and losing of its antlers, right? So even if what you're coming from before was something like really positive and helpful and you enjoyed it, and there's a lot of grief around this change, you're shedding your antlers, and there are new ones that are going to grow in their place. It's that whole, the only thing constant is change. Life is dynamic, movement is mercy. And so despite the grief and the emotional turmoil that may be present at this time, this is for your highest good, and it's natural, and it's the natural way and order of things. Okay, there's also an aspect here that's talking about, scarcity, whether that be financial, financial support, emotional support, whatever that is, that it's suggesting there are resources available. Perhaps exactly what that is. Maybe you've been nervous to reach out, and perhaps this is a sign to do so. Maybe it requires a little more digging around, and knowing that it's there. And it would seem to me that again, in following, like, you already know that this move is the thing that you need to do. And so part of me also wants to say that in fully accepting that fully and completely, and starting to move forward, perhaps those resources make themselves more known or more available as that commitment and those steps forward start happening. All right, the Hermetic Kabbalah tarot aspect here says the Five of Pentacles is hardship, exclusion, scarcity, and the pain of feeling unsupported in the material world. It often touches not only finances, but dignity and belonging. The shadow aspect of this card says shame, scarcity, identity, inability to receive help, an abandonment wound. All right, the soul lesson here is material hardship often carries a hidden lesson about dignity and interdependence. Okay, balance has come up a lot in the sphere lately, and so maybe there's an aspect there too around bringing things into more balance, greater balance. In love, it can mean feeling unsupported, relational hardship, loneliness, being left out in the cold. All right, and maybe aspects of that have contributed to the situation. And the spiritual initiation is discovering that lack is not the whole truth of your worth. And I find that really interesting. And again, a lot of like addiction treatment stuff is popping out for me here. I'm also wondering if the situation you're leaving is something you got into because of hardship, because of a financial situation, because of the need or desire to belong. If now, like wherever you're now headed, like it's time to leave that, for that you no longer need that previous person, place, community, thing, experience to be or group, like to be that place where you got belonging. You know, and it served you for a time, and it could have been really positively, and it may have actually not been great for you in how it was serving you, even though you were still getting something from it, right? And so understandably, there's fear and trepidation around leaving that situation. I think the call here is like, it's okay. Like, in fact, like what you're moving to is going to be better for you, healthier for you, more stable. You know, it's a positive change. Whatever hardship and difficulty comes, this is a better thing. And so there can certainly be fear around like this, the collapse, and can I really survive without this? And the answer is yes. And perhaps for some of you, the only way to survive is moving into this new situation, this new direction. All right. And so again, you already know what the answer is. You already know the truth of the situation. So now we're just kind of calling out the things that may be blocking you or getting in the way, or what your particular hangups are. Okay. And so essentially being able to call these things out and knowing that like these things alone, they are not the things to dig your heels in around, even though they might be trying. Like, it's still about moving forward. Okay. And so I had pulled a couple clarifier cards for this read, and I'm gonna actually go with the order I pulled it in. Okay. And so the first card that came was actually, you know what? Nope. That 4 came in strong, so I'm actually going to start here. When I pulled it, it was, yeah, I don't need to storytell there, but there was 2 cards that came in. One was just like really like, you know, one had like a light, peaceful energy. It was like, yeah, we're doing that one. And the other one was like pick me, choose me, love me. Yes, for all those who know that reference. And so, okay, so we pulled the duck and chrysanthemum. All right, the duck and chrysanthemum. We actually pulled it in reverse. I'll read both messages, though. All right, the duck and chrysanthemum. Ooh, the bugs. This is the card of luck. Okay, this is the card of luck. All right, the phrase lucky duck isn't just a lighthearted rhyme. Ducks can be symbols of good fortune. In ancient Egypt, ducks were associated with riches, especially gold, and frequently given as offerings to the gods. Likewise, chrysanthemums bursting forth with long and elegant petals signify abundance. Luck can be a fickle and mysterious force, but it is also, as Roman philosopher Seneca once mused, what happens when preparation meets opportunity. In upright, it says, you are on the brink of good fortune, be open to situations that may bring about positive transformation, and the reversal is, take care to get your ducks in a row. Do some research before taking action to avoid a misstep. And the questions Jessica proposes are, how can I prepare for the future? And is destiny mutable or set in stone? Okay. The couple things that really jump out for me here are the being open to situations that may bring about positive transformation. So again, it seems like this move is doing that. Perhaps there are things along the way, you know, and situations along the way that are going to aid in that positive transformation. Again, I go back to that addiction and treatment and mental health aspect. You know, about bringing about positive transformation. And then also the taking care to get your ducks in a row, right? When we're making big moves and big changes, there's so much that goes into that, and there's so much we have to navigate. And so being able to sit down, and that can be overwhelming in and of itself. So finding perhaps like whatever support you need, you know, right now, go get out a journal, come back to this video, start it over from the beginning, and like, you know, have me sit here with you while you're like writing out like some of those things that you know need to get done in order to get your ducks in a row, whether you can call up a friend, family member, somebody that can help you. Like, I really need help with this. But doing that is also going to relieve some of that anxiety and some of the overwhelm. Once you can clearly see what's in front of you, you know what needs to happen. It can help eliminate the question marks. Someone once said that to me when I was like in a particular spot, and it was a wild time, and they just said, like, eliminate the question marks, and so that can be helpful. Get it on paper, know what needs to happen, and that will give you more strength and security as you move forward in what you need to do. All right, and again, doing maybe a bit more research if that's what's needed. Again, this was the confirmation around this is the thing for you to move forward with. This is the thing for you to do. Okay, so getting your ducks in a row and being open to that positive transformation. And then the next card that we pull is, and again, that could be a job, getting stuff in place, starting your thing. If you're leaving, like, okay, here's all the things, I'm overwhelmed by this leave, or how things are being left for other people. And so it's writing things out, creating that SOP, super fun. Do the thing that needs to be done, that's going to help give you that strength and confidence as well. Okay, so let's see here. Reaching out for help could be, again, if it's a relationship, getting those ducks in a row. All right, so the last card here that we had pulled was the Rooster and Sunflower. Okay, the Rooster and Sunflower, and this is the card of communication. All right, this is the card of communication. It says this is the card of the good leader and the kind king. Roosters wake before the rest of the farm, alerting everyone to the rising sun. They are protective of their territory and self-confident, but they are good communicators, honest and capable. The sunflower is often the tallest bloom in the garden, rising high and turning its face toward the sun. While it may hover over other flowers, it bestows warmth and joy on any garden. In upright, it says, "You are well suited to positions of authority. Remember that clear and open communication is key to successful leadership." And in reverse, it says, "A miscommunication has occurred. As a leader, resist the temptation to blame others. Instead, clarify your intentions, seek understanding, and, if needed, ask forgiveness." I lean a bit more towards the upright. We pulled it in upright. That seems to me to be more of the thing, but if the reverse resonates, then by all means. The questions Jessica poses are, how can I improve my communication, and what styles of communication do I admire in others? For me, what really jumps out with this card are a few things, okay? As part of that, getting the ducks in a row, are there communications that need to happen? If so, what are they? Writing out who you need to communicate with, what you need to communicate, who you need to connect with around this situation, whatever that means, wherever communication is jumping out for you. Communication could also be honesty with self. Are you having clear lines of communication with self, with your source, with your higher power, with those in your sphere, your supportive network? What communication, what honesty might need to take place? Okay, we've got on those aspects of leadership. Certainly, it could be speaking to a role that you're moving into, or that you're scared to move forward with or accept, and perhaps it's a promotion, or a different role altogether. All right. There's also being like leading by example. Perhaps in your life, and whatever this changes, whoever is looking up to you, whoever you might be a role model for, or simply just the fact that the people in your life, whatever this changes, you are just leading by example when it comes to things of this nature. Okay, and then and lastly, and perhaps most importantly, it could also refer to simply being a leader in your own life. That notion of you're well suited to positions of authority, and maybe there's an aspect of being an authority, taking another level of responsibility, stepping up to another level of responsibility in your own life, taking leadership and ownership over aspects of your life, in ways that you are 100% entitled to do. Okay, this isn't an arrogant sort of like authority or something like that. And I know there's aspects that can come up from different religious paradigms and around nervousness there. This is in conjunction with your higher power, right? This is a surrender to that which is, that allness in whatever form that is for you. Okay, this is something to be true. There's already that inner conviction. There's already support here from your higher power, from your deepest core self around this move, and you are capable. You are able to do it. You can be a leader and an authority in your own life around around this change, around these changes, around when you know you need to do something for yourself, that you don't have to be afraid of that. And if there's work there, do the work there around that. But you are fully capable, and it's time. And that's the thing to remember. It is time. It's already spoken to you that this is the thing, this is the direction. And so there is a call here to take charge, to take that leadership, to step into that position of authority and responsibility, and take that action to move forward in your life. Okay? So that's what we have for you today, friends. I hope that it served you well. If you got anything from this, I appreciate any likes, shares, subscribes, any comments. All help me tremendously in letting the algorithm know that, hey, people are liking this. So I appreciate that. And just to make a mention, I did mention this in my video yesterday, I have recently released a new offering. It is a digital guidebook. It is called Asked and Answered. It is a tarot-inspired guide for relationship clarity, okay? It's got 7 different overarching contemplations and sections that include 61 questions. So if you've been going round and round around a particular relationship in your life, be that romantic, dating, friendship, a familiar relationship, a relationship to a person, place, community, experience, activity, hobby, anything, it can help you. While it's predominantly, I'd say, probably geared or anchored or intended initially for something that was more dating, romantic, the questions easily transfer over into those other relationship dynamics. And so any type of relationship clarity that you are needing, this is the one for you. And if you do not have clarity after digesting and diving through and answering these different all of these questions, I'm offering you a free 30-minute reading. Okay, so I'm very very confident that you are going to receive the clarity that you need with this guide. And so the link is going to be below in the description. $17, 61 questions, and you're going to have that clarity around whatever that you know, kind of pivotal or important relationship is that you're seeking clarity around and trying to figure out what to do with. Okay, so that's what I have for you, friends. Thank you for being here. Appreciate all the love and support, and we'll see you in the next one. Take care.